Yes. Yes. Next chapter is metallurgy or general principles. General principles. Involved in the extraction of metals. Extraction of metals. It is often called as metallurgy. Now, what do you mean by this metallurgy? When you come across the modern periodic table, it consists of S block elements, and P block elements, D block elements, and F block elements. They are classified on the basis of their electronic configuration. First group, two groups of the modern periodic table are called S block elements. Middle 10 group of the modern periodic table are called D block elements or transition metals. Last 6 groups of the modern periodic table are called P block elements. And bottom of the modern periodic table consists of 14 cross 2, 28 different elements that includes this actinide series and lanthanide series. Now, the periodic table that further classified into metals, metallites and non-metals. Now, usually group number 1 element except hydrogen are exhibit metallic character. Second group elements exhibit metallic character. And D block elements are transition metals, transition elements exhibit metallic character. And F block elements, they exhibit metallic character, and few P block elements, because P block elements they constitute non-metals, metallites and metals. It composed of all the three. More than 80 elements in the modern periodic table, they exhibit metallic character. What are metals? If any element is said to be a metal, it must satisfy certain characteristic properties. First characteristic property, it must occur in solid state at lab temperature. Therefore, first property exhibited by means of the metals. If any element is said to be metal, first one, it exists in solid state at lab temperature. Solid state at lab temperature. Exceptional cases are there. Solid state at lab temperature. Second property exhibited by means of the element, it is a good electropositive element. It is a good electropositive element. Good electropositive element. It is a good electropositive element. Good electropositive element. Now, third one is, it is a good conductor of heat and electricity. Good conductor of heat and electricity. Good conductor of heat and electricity. And it possesses ductile and malleable properties. Ductile and malleable properties. Ductile and malleable properties. And last one is, it exhibits shining property. It exhibits shining property. Shining property. If any element it's supposed to give or exhibit these fundamental properties, those elements are segregated as the metals. Now, 80 plus elements in the modern periodic table, 80 plus elements in the modern periodic table, means more than 80% of the elements in the modern periodic table, they exhibit metallic property. Is it clear? Now, exceptional cases are there. One is liquid metal at lab temperature, that is mercury. And what do you mean by how these metals they exist in nature? Whether they exist free in nature? No. Because of their reactivity, only 3 elements in the modern periodic table, like platinum, silver and gold. Platinum, silver and gold. Platinum and silver and gold. These three metals occur in free state. Occur in free state. Free state or native state. Free state or native state. Is it clear? Now, platinum, silver and gold, these 3 metals, they occur in free state or native state. What about remaining elements? Remaining elements in the modern periodic table. The occurrence of the metals, it depends upon their reactivity and also the electropositive nature. Now, group number 1 metals, except hydrogen, I mentioned 5 different elements in first group of the modern periodic table, like lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. That francium also exhibit metallic character, but it exhibit radioactive nature. Now, the second group of the modern periodic table, it consists of beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. These metals. The group number 1 metals are called alkali metals. Group number 2 metals are called alkaline earth metals. Why you are using the word like alkaline earth metals? Because they occur on the surface of the earth crust. Beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, they occur on the surface of the earth crust in the form of what? In the form of the respective carbonates, in the form of the respective bicarbonates. Now, in group number 1, they always associated with the halogen family elements, like that of the chlorides or bromides or iodides, or some extent to the fluorides. Even the second group elements, they occur in the form of their respective carbonates. For example, calcium in the form of the calcium carbonate or limestone, magnesium in the form of the magnesium carbonate or the dolomite, which is a mixture of calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. And some extent they occur in the form of the respective halides also. Now, if the metal is more electropositive in nature, it always associated the element which is highly electronegative in nature. High electropositive metals always associated the high electronegative metals, so non-metals. High electronegative non-metals are halogen family elements. That is why sodium always occurs in the form of the sodium chloride, sodium occurs in the form of the sodium bromide and sodium iodide, potassium occurs in the form of potassium chloride, potassium bromide, potassium iodide. Therefore, these are the occurrence of these elements, and these are found in the seawater. These metals are found in the seawater. Therefore, the major source of the sodium, major source of the potassium is seawater. That is why we can isolate, we can separate the sodium from sodium chloride or seawater or brine solution. How do you obtain the potassium? Potassium is found in the seawater, whereas magnesium also found in the seawater in the form of the carnallite, KCl, MgCl2, 6H2O. Whereas magnesium occurrence, that is the KCl and MgCl2, KCl, MgCl2, 6H2O. This is called as the carnallite, and one more is called bromocarnallite, whereas the KBr and MgBr2, that is 6H2O, that is called bromocarnallite. We can isolate, we can separate, or we can extract these elements from seawater. Alkali metal families, they always occurs in seawater because they associate with the more electronegative elements. Nature of the chemical bond between these two is purely ionic in nature. Therefore, the nature of the bond between sodium and chlorine is sodium chloride, that is ionic in nature. Potassium and chlorine is potassium chloride, that is ionic in nature. And magnesium with chlorine called magnesium chloride, that is ionic in nature. Therefore, ionic bond compounds are there. Is it clear? Now, keep it in mind, alkali metals always associated with the halogen family elements. Therefore, they can be extracted by means of the seawater. Now, what about the alkaline earth metal family elements? Like that second group metals, alkaline earth metals, because they are found in the surface of the earth crust, and hence they are called alkaline earth metals. In the earth crust, the maximum concentration is limestone. Therefore, calcium is obtained by limestone or calcium carbonate. Magnesium is obtained by means of dolomite, by means of mixture of calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. These are the sources of these metals. Sources of these metals. How these metals occurs in nature? And when you come across the D block elements, they are less electropositive compared to that of the S block elements, but they are more electropositive compared to that of the non-metals like P block elements. That is why they are called transition elements. Transition in the sense, the electropositive nature that falls from S block to the D block, and electronegative nature that elevates from group number 12 to group number 13. Therefore, group number 13 elements are usually non-metals. They are electronegative elements, but not all. Some of the elements which exhibit the metallic characteristic also found in P block elements. For example, aluminium. Aluminium is a P block element, but it exhibits metallic nature. In case of the transition metals, which are less electropositive compared to that of the S block elements, therefore they always associated the non-metal which is less electronegative in nature. Less electronegative elements means the 16th group elements and 15th group elements. These are the less electronegative elements. 17th group elements are more electronegative in nature, which are considered as halogen family elements. And 16th group elements and 15th group elements like nitrogen family elements and halogen oxygen family elements. Whereas these two are the less electronegative compared to that of the halogen family elements. Therefore, the element which is less electropositive nature always associated with an element which is less electronegative in nature. Therefore, less electronegative elements are either oxygen or sulfur. Therefore, the transition metals always associated with either oxygen or sulfur. For example, how do you obtain iron in nature? Iron occurs in the nature in the form of the respective oxide. That is considered as a hematite or magnetite. These are the oxides of the iron. How to obtain this manganese? Manganese in the form of the pyrrolysite. Pyrrolysite is an oxide ore of this iron, not manganese. How to obtain this chromium? Chromium is found in the respective oxide, that is called as a chromite. What about this lead? What about the silver? Lead always occurs in the form of the galena, that is lead sulfide. Whereas copper that always occurs in the form of the respective sulfide, that is chalcopyrites, which is a mixture of this iron sulfide and copper sulfide. Therefore, the metals which are less electropositive in nature, they are always associated the element with less electronegative nature, that is in the form of the oxides or sulfides. Now, very important. Now, the alkali metal family, alkali metals in the form of the halides, alkali metals in the form of halides, alkali metals in the form of halides. That is why sodium in the form of the sodium chloride, potassium in the form of the potassium chloride or potassium bromide or potassium iodide. Now, these are the good examples. Alkaline earth alkaline earth metals, alkaline earth metals in the form of the carbonates and bicarbonates, in the form of carbonates, in the form of carbonates and bicarbonates, carbonates and bicarbonates. Good example is calcium in the form of the calcium carbonate and magnesium in the form of a mixture of magnesium carbonate and calcium carbonate, that is considered as a dolomite, that is considered as a dolomite. This is considered as a limestone, this is considered as a limestone, this is considered as a limestone. Okay, now the transition metals which are less electropositive in nature, transition metals which are less electropositive in nature. Transition metals less electropositive in nature. Less electropositive in nature. Less electropositive nature. They are associated with either oxygen or sulfur. This is in the form of either oxide form or sulfide form, either oxide form or sulfide form. Is it clear? That is why, for example, iron in the form of hematite or in the form of magnetite. These are called as oxide ores. Oxide ores. There is a lead in the form of the sulfide ore, lead in the form of galena. This is sulfide ore. This is sulfide ore. There is a copper in the form of chalcopyrite, sulfide form. That is CuFeS2. Chalcopyrite. Now, how these metals they occur in nature? And very few of them, platinum, silver, and gold. These three metals occur in free state or native state. Free state or native state. Is it clear how these metals they occur in nature? More electropositive elements in the form of the halogen family elements, associated with the halogen family elements. Alkaline earth metals in the form of the carbonates or bicarbonates or borates, whatever it may be. And less electropositive metals always associated with either oxygen or sulfur, which are less electronegative in nature, either in the form of the oxides or in the form of the sulfides. That is why most of the cases they always occurs in the form of the respective oxides. Very few of them they always associate the respective sulfides, respective sulfide. Okay. Now, how these metals they occurs in nature? Only a few metals, like three metals, gold, silver, and platinum. They are considered as noble metals. Why they are considered as noble metals? Because they won't react with atmospheric oxygen or air. That is why when they are kept in air for a longer period, in 100% pure state, they does not undergo rusting or corrosion reaction. Therefore, they are costlier elements. Whereas the gold is very costly because it does not undergo oxidation reaction when they are exposed to air. Whereas the platinum or silver, they does not undergo an oxidation reaction or rusting during exposed to air. That is because of the unreactive nature. Therefore, they are considered as corrosion resistant metals. Now, these are natural occurring metals. Synthetic metals are also there, but these are chapters that concerned with naturally occurring elements. Naturally occurring elements. Now, this is about the occurrence of the elements in the nature. These naturally occurring metals, found in the surface of the earth crust and containing the given metal is called mineral. Now, definition of the terms. Now, what are minerals? These are the natural occurring element or natural occurring metal that is found in the surface of the earth crust and obtained by mining. This is called mineral. Natural occurring metallic compound. It is found in the surface of the earth crust and can be obtained by mining. Mining is digging the earth surface. That is called as a mineral. Mineral means it is a naturally occurring either metallic compound or non-metallic compound. Mining is the word that is derived from the minerals. Because by digging the surface of the earth crust, you can obtain the minerals. Now, minerals, they contain various concentration of the wanted metallic compound. Some of the minerals, they contain 1% of the wanted metallic compound. Some they contain 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% of the metallic compounds. What about the remaining? If suppose you had taken 100 gram of the mineral, 100 gram of the mineral not supposed to contain this 100 gram of the metallic compound. Whereas the waste metals are also associate this. Waste metals in the sense unwanted metals, they associate the metallic compound, naturally occurring metallic compound. Therefore, if it is a 1% or 2% or 3% or 4% or 5% of the metallic compound are present on minerals. What about the remaining one? The remaining one is unwanted component of the earth crust. What about the unwanted metallic compound? Unwanted components associated the wanted metallic compound. It may include lighter components of the earth, like grass and organic matters. They are associated with it. These are associated the metallic compound. And limestone, rocks or rocky metals, they always associate it. Therefore, these unwanted components, therefore, wanted metallic compound, plus unwanted impurities. What do you mean by this unwanted impurities? This unwanted impurities that comprises, whereas the lighter components of the earth, lighter components of the earth, Second one is unwanted metallic or non-metallic compounds. Unwanted metallic or non-metallic. Unwanted metallic or non-metallic compounds. Unwanted metallic or non-metallic compounds. And rocky metals, rocks, rocky metals, and also limestone, rocky metals and limestone. These are collectively called as a matrix. Gangue metals. Gangue metals are matrix. If the wanted metallic compound if the wanted metallic compound is either 5% or more than 5%. In some cases, 5% or more than 5%. Then only it is considered as a ore. In other cases, if the percentage of the wanted metallic compound is found to be negligible, either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4%, where the smaller quantities, then I will consider it as simply mineral. And if suppose the mineral contains the highest percentage of the metallic compound, because that we are concentrating one metallic compound, we are concentrating, gangue we are not concentrating in this chapter. If it is a 5% or more than 5%, then beyond this 5% I will segregate. This is a ore. This is a ore. Therefore, ore is the mineral from which the metal can be economically extracted or profitably extracted, because it contains enriched concentration of the metallic compound or metal. If the percentage of the metallic compound is more in the given mineral, then we can isolate in economical manner. If the percentage is very less, then we can isolate, but it is not a profitable job. It is not most economical or worthy one. That is the reason why, if the percentage is more than 5%, we are concentrating those minerals for our economic point of view. Now, so many minerals of the iron are there, whereas the siderite is there, hematite is there, magnetite is there, even chalcopyrite also contains some concentration of the iron in the form of the iron sulfide. But chalcopyrite is used in the extraction of the copper, but not in the extraction of the iron. Whereas iron sulfide that is used not in the extraction of the iron, rather than it is used in the production of the sulfur dioxide, that is used in the manufacture of the sulfuric acid by means of the either chamber process or by means of the contact process. Now, because of this reason, I will segregate this mineral, natural occurring metallic compound into the ores. If the ore contains the highest percentage of the wanted metallic compound, then that ore is called as the principal ore, prime ore. Now, try to understand. First we come across mineral, next we come across ore, next we come across principal ore. Minerals. Then we can segregate ores from the minerals. We can segregate the ores from the minerals, and we can segregate this principal ores by using the ores, mineral ores and principal ore. This contains the highest percentage of the metallic compound, In now this chapter, we are considering the principal ores because it contains the highest percentage of the metallic compound, and hence it is most economical one for the isolation or for the extraction of the metals. Is it clear? Now, what do you mean by the mineral? What do you mean by the ore? Naturally occurring metallic compound or non-metallic compound found on the surface of the earth crust and can be obtained by mining is called mineral. Is it clear? Naturally occurring either metallic compound or non-metallic compound found on the surface of the earth crust and can be obtained by mining is called mineral. And ore is the mineral from which the metal can be economically or profitably extracted, because it contains the highest percentage of the wanted metallic compound. Among all the ores, one is considered as a principal ore. What is principal ore? The principal ore is one among all the ores which contains the highest percentage of the wanted metallic compound. Or this hematite is considered as a principal ore of the iron, and pyrolusite is considered as a principal ore of the manganese, and chromite is considered as a principal ore of the chromium, and chalcopyrite is considered as a principal ore of the copper, and bauxite is considered as a principal ore of the aluminium. Now, this contains the highest percentage of the wanted metallic compounds. Now, the definitions. What is ore? Ore is the mineral from which the metal can be economically extracted or profitably extracted. All ores are minerals, but all minerals are not ores. All ores are minerals because we can separate the ores from the minerals. If the given compound is said to be the mineral, we can isolate or we can segregate whether it is an ore or not. Therefore, if the compound is said to be an ore, first it must be mineral. That is why all ores are minerals, but all minerals are not ores. Is it clear? Now this is very important one, definitions of the terms. Whatever by the gangue particles or the impurities or matrices, whereas a matrix means unwanted component of the earth crust which are associated with the given metallic compound. This gangue materials that includes or matrix that includes lighter components of the earth crust or fossil components of the earth crust or organic matters that associate along that of the earth crust, and rocky materials, rocks are on the surface of the earth crust, and also limestone which are present on the surface of the earth crust, and other unwanted metallic or non-metallic components present on the surface of the earth crust. These are collectively called as a matrix or impurities or gangue metals. Now, what do you mean by the metallurgy? What do you mean by metallurgy? What do you mean by metallurgy? What do you mean by the metallurgy? Now, metallurgy, consider metallurgy means it is an industrial operation. It is an industrial operation. What do you mean by industry? What do you mean by industry? Industry is an organization which has ability to convert any raw materials into the finished product by the application of the technology. What do you mean by industry? What do you mean by industry? What do you mean by industry? Industry is an organization. Industry is an organization which has ability to convert any raw materials into the finished product by the application of the technology. By the application of the technology. Finished product in the sense it is a useful product. It is a useful product. Assume that is the classroom is an industry. Best example. Whereas the 10th standard passed students are the raw materials for us. And second PUC passed students which scored the good marks, quality marks, are the final products of this industry. Whereas the sum of the raw materials are recycled back, failed students. And technology means the teaching process or the teaching operation. We are going to teach physics with a different methodology. We are going to teach chemistry by means of different techniques. We are going to teach mathematics in the different manner, and concept based and application based, memory based, like this. That is why by teaching various subjects of the physics or chemistry or mathematics or biology or electronics or computer science and Kannada and English or Hindi or Sanskrit, that based upon the different technology. Therefore, this why this is considered as one good industry. You are the raw materials for us. After 2 years or next year, you become the good products in the society. Now, ore is the raw material. Ore is the raw material. Which wire? That is a principal ore because it contains the highest percentage principal ore. And which is the final product? Which is the final product? Metal is the final product. Metal means pure metal. Metal means pure metal is the finished product. Now the technology used in the sense, there is a crushing operation, crushing and concentration, crushing, concentration, roasting or calcination, roasting or calcination, and smelting a reduction method and refining. Refining in the sense purification of the metal. These 5 technology used in this operation are called technology. Crushing operation, concentration, roasting or calcination, smelting or reduction, refining or purification. Refining in the sense removal of the last traces of the impurities. Now we come across one by one. First, what you mean by crushing? Crushing here corresponds to size reduction operation. Size reduction. Now huge lumps of the ore which can be obtained by means of minerals. Huge lumps of the ore which can be obtained by means of the minerals by mining technology we can't use in our devices or furnaces, because in metallurgical industries we are using some furnaces or devices in our operation. Therefore, we used to cut into small pieces by means of jaw crushers and by means of ball mills or by means of hammering. We convert into fine powder mass, and fine powder mass is subjected to sieving operation to convert into the fine powder mass. This phenomena is called as a crushing or pulverization. What do you mean by crushing or pulverization? Here refers to size reduction of the mineral which is found in the surface of the earth crust, followed by means of the powdering by using different tools. That is called as a pulverization operation or crushing operation. This is often called as a pulverization. Now jaw crushers and ball mills are used. Jaw crushers and ball mills. Ball mills in the sense hammering by means of hammer. We can cut into fine powder mass. By means of sieving machines, we can convert into fine powder mass. This is step number 1. Is it clear? Very important. That is a crushing process or crushing operation. The tools used in this operation are jaw crushers, ball mills or hammers, and sieving machines. Then fine powder mass is obtained. Next subjected to crushed and powdered ore. Now after this one, this is objective is crushed and powdered mass. Crushed and powdered ore is obtained. By this method. Is it clear? Then what do you mean by concentration? As I mentioned, in addition to the wanted metallic compound or wanted metal, it contains considerable amount of the unwanted impurities. Unwanted impurities associated with it are lighter components of the earth, or rocky materials, or fossil components, or limestone, and unwanted metallic or non-metallic compounds. These are collectively called as the matrix or gangue materials. The removal of the gangue materials or removal of the matrix as much as possible from the ore and increasing the percentage of the wanted metallic compound is called ore dressing or concentration of the ore or beneficiation of the ore. Now 3 terminologies are there, either concentration of the ore or beneficiation of the ore. Now different techniques are employed for the removal of the different impurities. For example, if it contains lighter components of the earth, then we are using the different technology. There is a difference in the density or specific gravity between the wanted metallic compound and unwanted impurities. If the density difference is there or specific gravity difference is there, then we are using gravity separation method or flow, that is for the removal of the impurities. Gravity separation, as its name indicates, difference in the specific gravity. Lighter components of the earth are removed by means of this gravity separation technique. Gravity separation technique. Second one is called gravity crush concentration. Concentration of ore. This is often called as a beneficiation of ore. Beneficiation of ore. This is often called as a ore dressing. This is often called as a ore dressing. Often called as ore dressing. Is it clear? Then depending upon the nature of the impurities and nature of the wanted metallic compound, the different operations are used. The first one is gravity separation technique. Gravity separation. Gravity separation. And magnetic separation. Gravity separation and magnetic separation. And oil flow flotation process. Froth filtration process and leaching or chemical method. Leaching or chemical method. These are the four different operations are employed. Here it based upon difference in specific gravity, difference in density, difference in density. Difference in density between wanted metallic compound and unwanted impurities. Wanted metallic compound, wanted metallic compound, wanted metallic compound and unwanted impurities. Unwanted impurities. Wanted metallic compound and unwanted impurities. Lighter components can be removed by this method. Lighter components of the earth, lighter components of the earth can be removed by this method. Can be removed by this method. Can be removed by this method. Lighter components of the earth can be removed by this method. Is it clear?